Hey everybody, Lawrence here coming at you with another one. Well, in this one, I'm continuing my little venture into the world of MDF kits. And again, I'm doing two kits from things from the basement, the Vikings tables and chairs, and Vikings village accessories. I'm keeping it small right now, just till I get the hang of it. And I do make some mistakes, but I do actually show how to fix them. But I want to show you how I went from a bunch of MDF sprue frames, they're already punched out, to all this wonderful, nice looking terrain. I, these kits are fun to build. I do make some mistakes that are totally on me because Jorg, sorry if I mispronounced your name, over at Things from the Basement, on his website, link below, he puts out some very clear and concise instructions. It's just me that makes mistakes. So I'm absolutely loving all these things, so definitely a site to check out. But before we get to it, I want to give a big shout out to all my patrons. Your guys' help every month is greatly appreciated, and it makes getting simple little, kits like this very much easier. So thank you very much. All right, let's get to it. My tables and chairs and my village accessories. So I'm going to start with the tables and chairs because they seem like they'll be easier to do. Tell myself that. And just quick, I'm just punching all the parts out. Being careful to keep, all, the tabletops and different pieces all in one spot together. Similar parts, keeping similar areas, just for quote unquote ease of assembly. That's what I'm telling myself anyhow. Of course, they got the little nubs there from where they were attached to the sprues. And, I'm just going to quick file them down just for a smooth appearance. I mean, I guess you could skip this step, but I mean, if it's going to be noticed. Some of them can be scraped, but I'm just going to sand them. I'll use a small file here. A few minutes of prep and, it'll make the paint job so much better. So I figured, well, okay, I'll just use some standard super glue here and put these, put them in real quick. I did do some test fittings just to make sure, the legs would actually fit into these benches. But on one of the longer ones, I put a little too much pressure in, kind of snapped it in half, and I was like, oh! But I did wind up gluing it back together, and honestly, I have to look really hard to tell which one I actually broke. So they are fixable. I switched to super glue gel for the tables because I was like, yeah, this standard super glue is just a pain in the butt. They actually do say about using PVA, but I was in a bit of a rush and I patience is a virtue for those that already have what they want. So I don't have patience, and I wanted to get these assembled because I was excited. But now quickly assembled them. As you saw, I did snap one in half, and I glued those legs back together. See, I make mistakes. I figured now I'm going to be putting together the shelter area. Off screen, I do have the instructions up on my laptop that I'm looking at, just trying to follow along, and making sure I push all the right pieces out, and just kind of getting a feel for them, sanding down the little nubs or whatever you want to call them. And it's like, okay, this fits here. I may have to sand down a little bit with where the connections are because it's a little too tight. And I've learned my lesson not to snap stuff in half. But again, I'm going with a super glue gel and just kind of just putting the basic support structure together here. This is actually going together pretty easy. It does require like I said, I require sanding the nubs and some of the they actually do suggest you have some sandpaper in case the connections are a little bit tight. So, they're full frontal about that. They're honest about that. But again, I'm trying to get the roof part here together, do a little bit of sanding, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. You want to make it look pretty because any imperfections that you leave now is going to be glaringly obvious when you paint it. So it's just a little bit of prevention, and you will easily be able to have a drop dead gorgeous piece. Because any, like I said, say as the same with miniature painting. If you don't get rid of those mold lines or the little connection points from the sprues, it's going to show up when you paint. So take a little bit of time and just get rid of it. Try and get rid of any blemish from where it connects to the sprue. Not hard. But at least there's no mold lines with this stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. But again, as you can see here, I connected the roof, and I got the roof piece on, and I was like, oh, I forgot to glue this down. So I just grabbed some PVA and decided to brush along the seam there so it'll have a nice secure fit. See, on me, but it works. It's great, and I'm really enjoying it. Now, they do include some crepe paper, some folded up paper to put on the roof. I'll be honest, I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be, but it actually looks cool, so I'm going to use it. I'm just slobbing down this, and they actually cut it. They cut it to size. So I mean, come on, I gotta use it. So there you go, and that's assembled and ready for paint. Well, almost ready for paint. But of course, I figured, okay, what's the next piece I want to do? I want to do the well, and you've already seen me punch out enough little pieces from the sprue. So, but again, the instructions on the website, they're photos. They're not like drawn instructions like put this in this. It's like, no, it's just the instructions make it so easy to do this. I had all the pieces laid out almost exactly the way they did on the photo, and I just followed along. I mean, I cannot complain. And another thing is this is so well designed that you don't even, with this one in particular, it was like all the part, a lot of times you'll see like where the connections are made. Well, like with this little well, it's hard to tell where some of the connections are because of the way the interlocking for like the logs for the actual wellhead there. I mean, dude, it's perfect. I'm really enjoying this. These are very well designed, so I'm definitely not complaining with this so far. But again, a couple spots of super glue where the two pieces interconnect. Put it together. And as you can, and boom, I've got a wellhead. I mean, I think this is looking really great. Now, I wanted to make sure this was actually really square when I put it down. As you can see, my cutting mat below there, I kind of would have put it on there just to kind of make sure. And then, of course, I'm going to connect it to the base, which already has pre-cut holes for all the little nubs there to actually go into. So I'm really enjoying this. This is just easy. In all honesty, this would have taken the scratch for me to completely scratch build these pieces would have taken 2 to 3 weeks. So the MDF kits look good, and they save me a lot of time, so I can do other scratch builds, more like the more wild stuff that have been wanting to do but haven't because I've been trying to get some more like standard scratch builds done, and this just, hey, these scratch builds are done. Now I can do the really wild stuff I want to do. I know it's kind of weird, but hey, whatever. But again, now we got to put the top. I don't even know what the part is, the top that goes over the well that holds the spindle with the rope and the bucket. And if you want to put a rope and bucket, you can do that. It doesn't include here with this, but you saw me do wells before, and you know how I do it. And of course, they have a little cart along with the accessories kit. And I punched all the pieces out, and I started to assemble. And again, it's a well-designed piece. It's going together, and I'm having fun. I'm just straight up having fun doing this. Yeah, I made a few mistakes, and I've let a few words out that would make a sailor's ears bleed but that was all my fault. So they put the wheel on. It's like, well, it fit there, okay. Well, I put a little dab of super glue gel, blah, blah, blah. You get the drill. This is just fun. I know that a lot of times where I'll be scratch building something, and I'm like, oh, how am I going to do this? This takes all the, oh, how am I going to do this out of it? I still want to do all the scratch builds and have to deal with, oh, how am I going to do this? Because that is I know it sounds weird, but that's enjoyable to me as well. This is just a whole other aspect that I've been denying myself for a long time, and I'm having fun. Now, granted, some of these MDF kits can be rather pricey, but they wind up. But there are smaller kits you can put together that will take care of like the little stuff you don't that aren't that pricey, that will take care of all the little stuff you don't want to scratch build. But like a little cart here, I mean, it has its uses and can be a really nice piece. That little bit of accent pieces to add to your tabletop if you want to use, terrain and stuff like that. So this is actually kind of cool. It's something so simple and little, but I was like, why have I never scratch built something like this? Oh yeah, because I didn't want to. Because I was like, why do I want to build something like that? But now I have it. So, or maybe someone else will get it eventually. Dungeon Minister. But the pieces go together almost seamlessly. Like granted, so, I do have to actually do some sanding because the tight fits are a little bit too tight, and I did wind up breaking one of the handles, which I super glued back on. And honestly, I don't remember which one it was. And even looking at the finished piece, I can't tell. But, okay, now I'm actually getting to the sty, or pig pen, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a matter of, again, the same as before, I've already punched all the pieces, the pieces I'm building out. And these are fitting together pretty easily. And granted, I put the roof pieces on, and I forgot to actually show you. And I think is where the little design I'm on here I thought was really cool. That the piece you're gluing on actually hides the connectors from the sides to the roof. It's like, that's actually pretty cool. Now you can't see those little nubs that'll affect. It's like, that works, and it flows together with the build. It's not a glaring, hey, this was put here just to cover something up. It's like, no, this actually makes sense. So, hey, I got a little pig container or whatever. And even these fence pieces here, they actually go together pretty easily. The little gate by the little house or whatever. And the thing is, up until the point where I add some stuff, it's designed that the gate can swing open if you want. But I actually made it so it stays permanently closed. So, there's that. But the gate actually is designed to swing open if you want to have it like that. I didn't, so. And here, another thing here is like all these fence pieces. They go together so easily. You put them together the way they show in the instructions, and it's like, boom, you got the whole fence done. So, this is a fun kit to build. I've enjoyed it. Even, like I said, even when I screwed up and snapped a couple pieces, completely my fault. I'm still enjoying every last bit that I'm doing here. So, there's a good thing to be said for the MDF kits, and I don't know why I kept resisting for so long with this stuff. Honestly, I really don't, because they're fun. And another nice little design element on the back, on the inside, where because there's only so much detail they can add. They can only add it to one side, at least for that. He gave you little pieces to add on to the inside, like a little fence post, and it gives it a little more detail. It's a little touch like that I thought was really cool because it gives more detail to the build, and it's such a simple little thing to add. So that's just what I'm doing, these stupid little slivers. It's like, why would I want that? Oh, this actually looks cool. Now, of course, I want to damage it and weather it up a little bit because I don't want a pristine pig pen. Yeah, so I'm just kind of filing in little notches and just kind of beating it up and giving a little bit extra age to it. Make it look like it's been around for a while and it's had a few hogs in its service life. So yeah, definitely, and just you can absolutely skip this step. But I want, you know me, I like kind of dingy, nasty, dirty, and kind of ugly. So I'm just notching it up a little bit here and there and weathering it up, honestly. Just beating the, and well, let's be honest, I'm beating the crap out of it. Just picking out little bits here and there, cutting off chunks. It's a pig pen. It doesn't need to be pretty. It really doesn't. Peanut butter time! This is my homemade texture paste. And of course, anywhere there's going to be like a ground area, I'm going to add a little bit around the well. And of course, the pig pen's going to get an extra amount of peanut butter. But again, this is just a homemade texture paste that you see me using quite often. And just basically slap it on anywhere that I want it to be a dirt area. It's a simple priming step. I'm just using some matte black and priming all the different pieces up. Now, being that it's MDF or wood, it will soak up paint. So keep that in mind. You may have to give it a second coat, or when you do paint it, keep in mind that it will soak up paint. Of course, I'm going to start off with painting all the wood areas because there's a lot. But I'm using I want to kind of give it an aged look. So rather than just going with my standard burnt umber and three different shades of brown, each individual shades that I use is getting some gray mixed into it, just to age it up a little bit. But again, I'm using the dark gray brown and trying to get as close to 100% coverage on all the wood areas as I absolutely can. Quick, easy. I mean, you guys have seen me do this plenty of times before, so you know what I'm doing. Area. And of course, now I'm using a mid-tone brown-gray mix and just giving it like a quick overbrush over all the wooden areas and leaving all those wonderful details that have been etched into the wood alone. The darkest part, or the recesses or just brushing right over them and really, really trying to make sure I don't get any paint into all those. I mean, they are nice details, so I don't want to cover them up. I want them to stand out, so I'm just brushing over it quick and really, really trying to keep out of them. And actually, I'm pretty successful, so I can't really complain. Well, I can complain all I want. That's my God-given right. But same as any of us. But again, just a quick overbrush with a mid-tone and boom. Quick, easy, and not overdoing it. And of course, a light brown gray mixture. And I'm going to give all the wood areas, a real quick light dry brush just to make all those wonderful details pop. And I'm also spending a little attention on the edges that would actually shine even more and just trying to make everything look good or even better than it already does. So listen, it's simple. It's a light color of my triad and do a quick dry brush. And of course, for all the dirt areas, I'm using my standard dark brown and just giving that 100% coverage. I'll also do this to the shelter and to the pig pen and just paint all the dirt a dark brown. While I was waiting for some stuff to dry, I decided to paint the metal trim on the wheels of the cart with a dark sequin black because I like it. So, and any other metallic parts I'm going to use this. I figured, well, I could have gone with something brighter, but I like this color, so that's what I used. Well, of course, now I need to do my mid-tone brown, which is a nutmeg brown on all the dirt areas. Of course, I'm doing a pig pen. But this is just like a quick overbrush, and I'm trying to be really careful getting the edges around first and just making sure I don't hit any of the fence posts or anything. I mean, yeah, I should have because, it's a pig pen. It's going to get muddy, but I chose not to. Then, of course, now that that's all done, going to do a quick dry brush on all the dirt areas just to make all the lovely texture paste details pop. And as you can see, I did 2 little wallows there where pigs may have laid. And of course, do it with the other 2 pieces that have dirt. So boom, quick, done. For the pig pen, I wanted to have a darker, wetter, nastier look because it's mud. So I got my dark brown wash out and just slabbed it all over the place, and just to make it look darker and kind of nastier than the rest of the dirt areas. No overthinking it. I just wanted a darker, nastier look. Of course, I'm using some UV resin here for different areas for water, like in the well, and the 2 spots in the pig pen where the wallows are, where the pigs may have laid. This is quick, easy. So this is like Team U grade UV resin. And a quick, simple little UV light. Flash it on there for a while. And hey, I got what looks like water in the bottom of the well. Quick, easy, done. And a little more. Yeah, definitely a little more. Now I got water. Of course, now I want to start painting this crepe paper. I decided to go. I was looking at the pictures on his website, and I was like, kind of wanted to get close to it, but I kind of wanted to do my own thing, so I decided to start off with a dark blue gray, and just painting it as close as I could to cut 100% or so. I may have missed a few spots, but you know what? I'm still going to sleep at night. But again, boom, dark blue gray. And I'm going to use a mid-tone gray here and do a heavy overbrush, leaving all the deepest recesses alone. And I'm just starting to bring up the highlights and just make it pop a little bit more. And here I'm using a tan color, and I'm just going to give it like a heavy dry brush, just to make it look. You know what? I'm not exactly sure what I want it to make it look like, but I just kept going over until I was actually happy with how it looked, and I'm never really like painting it. It's just a dry brush hitting certain spots a little heavier until I'm happy. And of course, I'm using my homemade pigment powder. This is a dark brown that I'm just putting in areas where it might get dusty, dirty, or a little dingy. Because, like I said, I like dark and dirty and dingy stuff. So, hey, whatever. And just anywhere where I think dirt or dust might collect. And I'll do this on all the pieces. Yeah, I'm just showing you the pig pen. I'm not going to make you watch everything I do. And then I'll just secure it in place with a mist of some isopropyl alcohol. And of course, I like adding moss to everything. There is a tremendous amount of brown, and this moss paste will add just a wee bit of color just to offset all the brown. So absolutely, I'm going to add it to this stuff. And then once I'm done adding all the paste where I like it, I'll sprinkle it with some yellow fine turf just for some highlighting and make it pop some. Of course, the shelter place I want to actually add some flocking to, just because I think it needs it or it would look good. And I'll just use what my new standard is: some watered down PVA, some darker fine flocks, some burnt grass, some green grass, and then yellow for a fine highlight, and pat it down. Of course, I'm going to use my favorite huge miniatures grass tufts. I'm using 2 different colors just for some variety. And the grass tufts will help make everything just pop a little bit and just add a little bit of color to all that brown. I need something to pop. So, boom, done. As usual, I am really happy with how these turn out, from this pig pen to this little shelter thing. Even this little well was pretty cool. And I'm surprisingly, I really like this little cart. I don't know why. I just really like it. It's cool. Even these tables and benches are pretty nice. So no complaints. This was just, I'm really, really happy with these.
Hey everyone, if you watch this far, it means you watch the end, and as always, I can't thank you enough. The standard YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, but do come to the Discord if you're building, link down in the description, if you're building your own MDF kits, come to the Discord, post pics. I would love to see what you guys are doing, or, any of your scratch build train. I love seeing stuff. I can steal your ideas. But again, the, the, these MDF kits from Things from the Basement, I'm absolutely loving and enjoying. So there will be more. But don't worry, I will get back to, I will be doing scratch builds again. I haven't abandoned that. No, I got too much stuff back there to give up on scratch building. But again, Thanks for the Basement. Great, great, great site, and I absolutely love it. So, but again, guys, remember, it doesn't matter if you're scratch building your terrain or you're buying an MDF kit to make your terrain. Remember, the only person you got to worry about is you, because it is your terrain.